Thank you for joining us for our session, Path of an Honors Student. My name is Cameron Lamarca and I'm a junior here at OLP. As a member of the Panelists Circle of Student Ambassadors, I have been asked to facilitate this conversation between some of our faculty members and some of my fellow students. Joining me here today is Ms. Stephanie Maake, Mrs. Sean Hanley, and two seniors, Anjali Pei and Grace Bradley. Without further ado, let's get started. Panelists, would you please introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, my name is Mrs. Sean Hanley and I have been at the Academy of Our Lady of Peace for about 20 years. I am a social studies teacher and currently I'm teaching AP Psych, regular Psych in government, and I am also the moderator of the mock trial team.
My name's Anjali Pei and I'm currently a senior at the Academy of Our Lady of Peace. I've been here since freshman year and I like to stay busy, so I'm involved in mock trial, I play tennis during the fall, and I also am a Panelists Circle Student Ambassador. And then my favorite thing about OLP, I would definitely have to say, it sounds a little cliche, but it would have to be the memories that I've made with friends and the people I've met here.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Maake. I am an alum of the class of 1998. This is my 13th year teaching here at the Academy of Our Lady of Peace. I am a biology teacher, the science department chair, and the junior class moderator.
Hi everyone, my name is Grace Bradley and I am also a senior here at OLP. Some things that I participate in are Model United Nations. I'm also a link crew leader, so welcoming the freshmen onto campus. And then I also play water polo and beach volleyball. And probably my favorite part about OLP is just the all women environment that we have here, and it's really empowering and inspiring to be surrounded by so many awesome women.
So, let's start with a hypothetical. What advice would you give an incoming 9th grader that's seeking an academic rigorous program? Let's go to a student perspective. Anjali?
I would say to really do some self-reflection beforehand and know your limits, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, but also really know that academic rigor means different things to different people. So for some people that means taking a lot of honors classes, for others maybe it's just taking some. But just know that whatever it means to you, pursue that as you want to, and don't try to match academic rigor that maybe some of your fellow classmates are doing or older siblings.
Going off of what Anjali said, I really agree with her point. And I think something really important and that kind of goes along with OLP's mission is the sisterhood. And at first you might feel like, oh, I need to keep up with all these other students. So many people are doing so many rigorous classes, and you might feel like you're falling behind. But if you really just stick with what you're interested in and what you know will challenge you, but will also interest you and get you where you want to go, I think that you can't really go wrong with that.
With having such a rigorous academic schedule, what are some tips and tricks that you would advise a student to tackle such hard courses? Let's hear from Gracie.
Okay, so definitely it's a learning curve. You're not going to just jump into freshman year and automatically just be killing it. At least that was not how it was for me. So I would say some good tips are definitely to kind of sort out your priorities and make sure that you get the things maybe you don't want to do or that are harder for you out of the way first. And that'll leave you feeling a lot more positive about the kind of the track you're on or like the homework load you have. And it will help you balance what you have going on for maybe that week or even a long-term project. So just sorting out my priorities and kind of like making lists and checking them off have definitely helped me a lot as I've taken on more honors courses over the years.
As a biology honors teacher for about 10 years now, I can definitely say that when we have incoming freshmen coming in to take this course, these are all A students and they all expect to get an A. But really, the freshman year, it really teaches them how to study, teaches them how to prioritize, and teaches them how to have that grit and that growth mindset. Because in these honors classes, or any class that you take, you really are learning higher order level thinking. The teachers are really trying to get you to think critically and be your best self in all of these classes. So like Gracie said, don't expect to be killing it right away, but you learn how to kill it, I think, in the end. Right.
I would say, so I'm going to reference a little visual here. My mom always used to tell me that when we think about ourselves, we're like rubber bands, and so each of us has a different like width that we can stretch, and it's different for everyone. And so really, my advice would be to know how far you can stretch yourself, and then also how far you want to stretch yourself. So don't be stretching yourself so thin that you can't hang out with your friends or you can't participate in the extracurriculars that you want. But also know that it's always good to have a little bit of stretch, to challenge yourself a little bit. And I definitely think along with that comes that you really have to have resilience when you're taking these honors courses. I took bio honors and several other honors courses, and I would definitely say that there were moments when, you know, I didn't do well on a test or a quiz, or I didn't finish a homework assignment in time. And for me, that was always like a really big thing. But I think really knowing how to bounce back from that and just remembering that this is a long-term thing, and it's not about one assignment, it's not about one test, it's not even about one grade at the end of the semester. It's really about what you take away and what you learn from that class.
Yeah, I would agree with what the other three panelists have said. I teach advanced placement, which are rigorous courses, and I would say my biggest advice is take courses that you're really interested in, you really like, because if you have an investment in those courses, you're going to be more interested and you're going to want to do the work and be more willing to do the work as well. So make sure that it is something, and it is better to take less like honors or AP classes and overwhelm yourself than to take a few and do really well in them. So again, it's really prioritizing, knowing your limits and understanding those limits, and like everybody has said, it's really for the long run. This is scaffolding your knowledge and getting you prepared for college. So it is definitely a marathon and not a sprint.
Thank you all for your perspectives, and just bouncing off of what Anjali just said about the rubber band and the metaphor, how do you guys kind of balance your social life, your extracurriculars, and other outdoor activities with such a rigorous academic schedule? We can go to Anjali.
So I would say when we're talking about balancing things, extracurriculars, your schoolwork, I would say the number one thing would be to prioritize, like Gracie mentioned earlier. I've been working on this recently. I bought myself a planner. I've been trying to use Google Calendars. Just writing things out is super helpful to know where you have to be at a certain time, what you have to do. And then also the second thing I would say is that sometimes, you know, when you're prioritizing, there are things that are going to come first. There are things that are going to be more important. And it's important to know that sometimes there's cases where the things that are most important to me in the moment, it might not be finishing the assignment as important as schoolwork is. Sometimes you have to prioritize your mental health, your well-being. You have to prioritize hanging out with your friends, because that's going to make you better when you come to school. Or you have to prioritize getting your sleep. I know that's a huge one at OLP. So because my mom always tells me, another thing she always tells me, that you have to go to bed early because you're going to do better on the test the next day if you go to bed early. So just remembering that sometimes the best choice isn't always to cut out everything to do the schoolwork or do the homework. You just have to really remember what is important in the long term.
And I'll say from a teacher's perspective, one of the biggest tools that I always tell my students is that they should budget their time, but do a little bit every night. We are on the block schedule here at OLP, and I always say, even though you're not going to see me tomorrow, you still want to do your homework tonight, so that if you have questions, you can come in the next day and we can talk about it. And then that way you're not, struggling all the night before, especially when we're studying for tests. I say do a little bit each night, and then that way you're not going to be having to be up all night studying for that test. You can get that good night's sleep that is really, really important. So a little bit each night. Budget. Great advice.
I would agree with that as well. I think several points that Anjali made, in psychology it's called a spacing effect. So you space out your learning and you learn it better because you're learning it a little at a time instead of trying to cram it. And I also think that you, like she said, sometimes you are going to have to maybe give up the friends for the schoolwork or vice versa, and that's okay. And again, that comes down to choices and being like a rubber band, and whatever you would know yourself. And I think that, and knowing that, and making a list, not procrastinating I think procrastination is probably the biggest killer of grades. But again, you also have to take care of your mental health as well, and have friends. That's part of the high school experience. So I think you'll find your balance. It might not happen like day one, but I think just like with everything, practice makes perfect, and you will get into that rhythm and you will find that balance for yourself.
And it does kind of go back to, like you said, you want to take classes that you are interested in. And if you're taking those classes that you're interested in, then you're going to want to spend a little bit more time on that. You know, if you're in a class that you just have no interest, you don't want to be there, that's probably going to be the last class that you want to focus on. So it's not always about taking all the APs and the honors. It's about taking the classes that you are planning on studying in the future.
I completely agree with that. And something that has kind of stuck with me is how you will make friends in all of your kind of honors classes and AP classes, like Anjali was saying, that kind of become that community for you. And you'll see them again next year in another honors class. And those people become your friends, and those people will understand when maybe you can't hang out one night because you have a test, and that'll just be them like the next week. So it's really, OLP is a really great place to kind of build those bonds, but also have that understanding between you and your friends that sometimes you just need to prioritize something else. And I think everybody here has been really great about knowing where everyone is and knowing everyone has a different schedule, but also has needs outside of a friendship or outside of school. So you kind of find that balance like with each other, and you do learn it after time, and sometimes it takes a while, but I agree that you'll find it.
Adding on to what Gracie just said about the bonds we make at OLP and how important we value community, what are some members of our OLP community that have helped you on your journey through these courses and through your time at OLP?
So something that has really helped me a lot is just the communication that is available between teachers and students at OLP. I remember the first day of freshman orientation, Miss Gasho taught us how to write like a polite email, and that has come so much in handy, especially due to COVID and being virtual. And so I just think something I've learned is that your teachers are always there to help you, and they want to hear from you, and they will always respond to you and always try to get you to succeed, and really love it when you're engaging with them and trying to understand something better. And so personally, my AP World History teacher, Mrs. Devereaux, she was the one who told me about Model UN, which is an activity that I just love doing now. So I think that just building a relationship with your teacher and kind of letting them get to know you and getting to know them will help them see your interests and help them kind of push you into opportunities you might not have looked for yourself, and really get you more involved in the community and help you to find your place. And it just creates this really awesome person for you to go to if you ever need help, and if you ever need encouragement for something you might be a little on the edge about. So I've just really found it easy in this community, especially, to find teachers that I connect with, and I just really love that.
I think I would definitely say I would have to agree with Gracie that teachers are a huge one. I think something that's really special about OLP that I've encountered here that I didn't maybe have at my middle school or before that was definitely that the relationship that I have with a lot of my teachers goes beyond them just teaching or lecturing to us. A lot of my teachers I know very personally, and they know a lot about me beyond me as a student. They know me as a person. And so I think that that really opens up a lot of avenues where you can turn to them if you have questions, if you're stressed, if you feel like you can't handle something. They're really there to support you. And I think that another group of people that is really here for you too at OLP is your counselors. My counselors helped me through so much recently. They're always there for you when you pick your classes, which is super helpful because over the years they've given me a lot of advice about what classes to take. They definitely understand that everyone has a different capacity, a different workload that they want to take on, and they're really understanding about that. And then also just them being there as a person that you can talk to when you're super stressed and maybe you don't want to talk to a sibling or a parent or something like that. Just a third voice that you can turn to and really just say like, hey, I need to talk about what I'm going through. I have a ton of work. I don't think I can finish it. And they can just kind of talk you off the ledge. I know Mrs. Hevron, my counselor, has done that for me in the college application process. And then lastly, I think Gracie touched on this before too, but definitely your peers in the classroom are super helpful and people who definitely understand where you're coming from because they're in exactly the same situation as you. And in my honors classes especially, a lot of my peers have shared study guides with me. They've helped me when I miss class, or they've shared their notes with me just to really, everyone wants you to succeed, everyone wants you to be successful, and they're all there to help you along that path.
And can I add on, just teaching AP Bio I would always say you want to have a study group. Form a study group. It's more fun to study with a partner, to study with friends, and a lot of the things that we did in AP Bio, I would always have them work in groups, have them work in partners, because there is that level of competition, but it's good competition. Everyone is kind of rooting you on to be successful in whatever your class you're in. I also think that the students that are the most successful are the ones that do have that open conversation, open relationship with the parents. And I know this year I teach a lot of freshmen, and I always say, don't be afraid to ask a question. Don't be afraid to email us if you have any questions. I'm here for you. And so you really want to make sure that you have that open dialogue with your teachers. You're going to get the most out of the class if you are open.
I agree. I mean, we're always agreeing on everything, but I think that Gracie touched on it, the academic teams are also a big part of being on that honors track and with AP and stuff, and it's another community, it's another group. I am a moderator for mock trial, and Anjali is on, and you really get to know the other girls, and we get to know the students outside of the classroom in another setting and get to see them and what their personality is like and how it shines through. And so academic teams, be it a mock trial or a speech or Model UN or whichever ones, robotics, are teams that really can help build that community with you. And I think if I had to say what's the strongest part of OLP, and it would be our community, our sense of community, because the teachers really do and are invested in our students, and I feel like the students also trust us that we are doing our best for them, and we really care about them and their future, that we're their number one fans. We're really rooting for them, and I think that they know that.
To close, we're going to ask one final question. What is one thing that you most appreciate about your OLP experience?
So one thing that I really value a lot and that I've kind of seen come out of me a lot more during the college application process in particular is just how much OLP has encouraged me to become a leader and kind of an advocate for myself, because I definitely have felt like I've challenged myself a lot here and that I've gained a lot from coming to this all-girls school and taking a lot of rigorous classes, because those might have not been things I had felt comfortable with doing somewhere else. And honestly, I think that the community here really encouraged me and also just gave me a lot of confidence in myself, and I know that I will be very well prepared for whatever I choose to do in the future.
So I can speak to this as an alum and as a teacher. As an alum, I remember going into college thinking, wow, this is really easy. I felt really prepared. And I get so much gratification when I get those emails from former students who say, I'm taking biology and I'm using all of my old notes, and it's really easy, and thank you. So it just tells me that, we are doing things right here. As a teacher, the one thing that I love the most is seeing those students who finally get it. When they go, oh, I get it now. Those aha moments. And it sounds cliche, but it really does make our day when a student goes, thank you. It makes so much sense, So it is, it's great to be a faculty member here and inspiring these students to really become their own self-advocate and teaching them how to learn.
I would say if there's one thing that I think I will take away from my OLP experience, it would have to be to, I guess we'll say, treasure the smaller moments. I think that going into high school, I definitely thought that the moments I would remember the most and that would mark me the most as a person would be prom or homecoming or junior unity mass. Not that all of those weren't super special to me, they were, but I think that some of the moments that have been even more special to me were the smaller moments, whether it was doing a study group for bio honors, which I will be honest, we still remember a lot of the things that we did in that study group for bio. Or it was at mock trial when we were there till 10 o'clock at night at the courtroom. So it's just the smaller things like that, and I think that part of what OLP has taught me is to really appreciate that perspective, that those small moments together are what make up your experience. And so looking at those small moments and treasuring each one of them for what they are rather than just kind of brushing them aside. And I think that now we're all kind of feeling it a little bit more with everything that's going on, that, you know, we miss those smaller things. We miss the big things too, but we also, there's those things that, you know, sometimes we take for granted. And so I think that coming to OLP and then going forward, I think I'll be much better able to appreciate those moments so that when I go to college, I don't let them pass me by.
So I would agree that being part of the OLP, of the community, and the OLP experience, of course, is always the girls. I think if you ask any faculty member what's the most special part are the girls, and I think it's it's a huge responsibility that the parents have entrusted to us to educate their daughters, and at such a pivotal and transitional time of their lives as they go through high school. And that's not something we take lightly, or I take lightly. I think it's an honor to be able to watch them. You see them come in as freshmen, and then you see them go out as young ladies who are confident and you know, self-assured. And that's really the goal, that we are preparing them not just for college, but for life, and for stewards of our faith.
Thank you all so much for your input. I can speak for all of us when I say that we learned so much today and that we will remember everything that you said. While the path of an honor student isn't the direction all OLP students will take, it's valuable information knowing there are rigorous academic courses and exceptional co-curricular opportunities that enhance the academic program for those seeking this path. Thank you, panelists, for your time and your dedication to our school community. Have an amazing day.